Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's Kevin Jackson Show. Our hearts and our, sincere condolences go out to the people who are caught in the path, if you will, of Irma. It's been an amazingly devastating storm. And it was funny. I was watching, not funny, but I was watching people as the storm was moving in over the weekend, and they're looking at the storm surge. And I mean, this ocean is boiling, and people are taking pictures. And, it was like, guys, get out. This is crazy. Get out of there. Largest evacuation in history, which, you could have said they should have done this in Houston, but, it's all in retrospect. I certainly know the drainage system in Houston, and I talked about this, is not prepared for these things, and they should be preparing for it. Even as we speak right now, hurricanes are going to hit. We're going to be dealing with this stuff, folks. Next year is going to be another hurricane season. I know the people who are caught up in this whole society of global climate change are going to be shocked to learn that this happens every year. Some years are worse than others. It's kind of like you say to yourself, how was summer this year in such and such? And they go, oh, it was a milder summer than normal. And they may say that once every 10 years. Or they say, how was winter in such and such? And they go, wow, we had a tolerable winter. It was blah, blah, blah. Or we had one of the worst winters we've had in a decade. Or the 100-year flood or whatever. It changes. And, look, the reason why I get a little bit upset about this is because I feel I get bored talking about the same thing. We got tornadoes, hurricanes, mudslides, earthquakes, tsunamis, you name it. They're all going to happen. I talked about it the other day. Tell me your name, tell me your area of the country, and I will tell you, they have massive thunderstorms, massive flooding, massive landslides, avalanches, tornadoes, sinkholes, crazy stuff. You go, wow, it's, how do you know, Kevin? I don't know. I'm psychic, I guess. Anyway, these guys are out looking at this storm. This storm is barreling in, and I'm thinking to myself, guys, you don't play around with nature. You don't play with God this way. You just don't do it. It's going to come again next year, though. Anyway, prayers go out to them. Truly do. Here's what I want to cover today. Oh, geez, what is this? I want to cover, we talked about some things when I was last on, and we didn't go in enough depth because I didn't have the stuff handy. Look, and I'm not blaming you guys. I'm looking at my producers here. They're looking at me like, what? No, it's not your fault. I chose to go from memory, that there were some really funny, clever things that were being discussed that we didn't go deep enough on. For example, I talked about this Twitter poll. I want to go back over that. So we'll talk about that here in a second. I talked about the compilation of fake news, what somebody said before and after, but I didn't go into detail. I needed to go into more detail. I needed to have the clips that we got. We got them from another website and we referenced it in the site, but need to have those out there for you. We need to talk more about the NFL. And what happened with him? Hillary Clinton, she's on the outs. There's a lot of things we touched on. And by the way, we'll continue to touch on these because there are recurring themes unfortunately, in politics and in political punditry that are never going away. We are constantly going to be thinking about, or talking about, I should say, and probably thinking about the same things. One thing I didn't touch on, Lois Lerner, they're not prosecuting her. Why? I have a suspicion that Sessions knows how crooked the left, and who knows where this thing reaches. Why are they not prosecuting her? What could she possibly have said to them, or information that she leaked out that says, I'm off limits, when we know what she did? Is she not a big enough fish? Give us something, guys. We put Trump in charge to get to the bottom of this stuff. The VA, there have been some people fired, but we still want to know. I want to know who was responsible for getting veterans killed. Do you? And I could go on. I want to see Hillary Clinton in a jumpsuit. She deserves it. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. You guys heard me talk about her. Debbie was getting some on the side, and it was from these Pakistani boys, and my suspicion is it was probably all the brothers hanging out with Debbie. Wink, wink, you know what I mean? And Debbie is selling our secrets, giving these guys access to our secrets. We need a deeper dive into this. Are you kidding me? How is she not in prison? Laptops all over the place, information being given out willy-nilly, and we can't. Hillary Clinton is somebody from her staff. Give me a scapegoat. Can I give one scapegoat? Uma Abedin or and I'll even settle for Anthony Weiner going to jail. Surely nobody would dispute that. But we get nothing. I don't know about you. I'm tired of getting nothing. I want to see some people go down. Well, it's one thing to drain the swamp. Well, we fired a bunch of people from D.C. Whatever. Man, the government has got over 1 million employees. Whatever. It's close to 1 million. Whatever. What's the number? You got it? I know it's over 1 million. Don't be looking. When you look at me like that, you interrupt my flow, man. You interrupt my train of thought. It's a lot of people the government employs. And we fire 500 of these or 200 of that. You think you've really gotten rid of the cancer? You got the body has become cancerous. Now all you got is you're looking for places where, oh, there's some healthy cells right there. You better grab those and get you some stem cells because the rest of the body is dead. We want to see action. Unbelievable. So we got a lot of things. I want to cover a few things that we didn't cover before, at least in more depth. Then I also want to cover some things that we didn't cover at all. Kim Jong-un and this nuclear missile test. Why haven't we done more here? Why haven't we, I mean, and I know Trump's got some things in mind. I heard we're training special forces in order to take him out. That's got to make the guy kind of scared. He doesn't know where it's going to come from now. He's got to be in a state of paranoia. Or paranoia. Or paranoia, as I said earlier. Oh, man, he's a cunning linguist, that Kevin. Anyway, look, folks, lots to talk about. We'll be back in just a minute. Keep it in.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. KJRadio.com. The KJ stands for Kevin Jackson. KJRadio.com. 844-551-8255. Now, the other day I talked about embarrassing Twitter polls. Yeah, a Twitter poll that they wanted on Donald Trump backfired. And I got it. I didn't get it wrong because the numbers are right, etc. But I forgot what question was asked and all that. And I wanted to do a deeper dive because I want to talk to you about the results of that poll as we parse it. See, we didn't parse it last time, and sometimes you need to. And here's what I want to start with. I love it when reality crushes the leftist narrative, and that is exactly what happened when a Twitter page, I don't know if it's a page or a Twitter link or, moniker or whatever you want to call it, but they called themselves Impeach Donald Trump. And they wanted to test the waters. Now, I haven't heard anything about impeaching Trump. Where's Maxine Waters? She was leading the charge. This congressional black circus clown hasn't been heard from. Now, keep in mind, on this page, Impeach Donald Trump, who decided to test the waters with a poll, the majority of their followers, and I don't know how many. Can you find out how many? How many followers? Anyway, the majority of their followers are anti-Trump. They're Trump haters. They're Trump bashers. They're rhino Republicans. They're Democrats, progressive, Holly weirdos, and so on. That's who follow, that's Twitter talk, follow these guys or gals or whatever they choose to be, okay? And the group put out a poll of its followers, and they got interesting feedback. And that's what I attempted to discuss the other day. But the problem was I discussed it with the wrong information. So first of all, the question was, of the last 4 presidents, which is your favorite? Of the last 4. So who are we talking about? Trump, Obama, George Bush, Clinton, and Clinton. That's it. Not even Bush the elder. Certainly not Reagan. I'd be curious to see if they'd gone farther. It didn't include Jimmy Carter. See, I would have gone back of the 7, because that would have been an interesting poll. But they chose 4. I don't know why. It's an anti-Trump page. Impeach Donald Trump. Or anti-Trump Twitter, whatever. All right? And the person who won in the poll as the favorite president was Donald Trump. And at the time I said I knew it was over 60. I wasn't sure if it was 63 or 67. It was 67% of the people on Impeach Donald Trump said their favorite president was indeed Donald Trump. Now, that should be shocking to you, given what I told you earlier. This is a page of people that supposedly don't like Donald Trump. Now, we'll get more into that in just a second, because Twitter doesn't quite work like that. It's a poll. Once some people get on, check it out, we got to go protect Donald Trump. But I'm going to tell you something. I get polls all the time. Who's your favorite? What do you think about Trump, this, that, and the other? And I don't even fill them out. Do you think Trump should have done this to the Republicans? Yeah, but I don't fill out their poll. I don't feel compelled to go protect Trump in that way. Now, I didn't see this poll in its original thing, and I didn't vote on it after the fact. But it was still, you could vote on it. It had 120,000, give or take, at the time, when Donald Trump had 67% of those votes. Fully 70+ thousand of those votes were Donald Trump, of 120,000 up to that point that I looked at it. Now, who came in second out of the 4? Barack Obama. Number 2, he got 22% of the vote. This is on an Impeach Donald Trump page. 22% of the vote. You would think between Bush and Bill Clinton that Bill Clinton would have come in solidly third. He didn't. Bush came in third with 7% of the vote. Finally, the first black president, Bill Clinton, came in last with 4% of the vote. Now, to call this poll shocking is an understatement, particularly given the group that created the ad hoc poll. So what are we to think of this? Well, as I've said, the official, using my finger quotes, media polls you can disregard. Trump is popular, and wildly so. No president since Reagan has been able to reach so many people. Reagan called it the big tent. And I'm talking about people of all social and political ilks, or if there is an ilk. And like Reagan rather, Trump's attraction by his followers is what I define as sticky. See, we talk about sticky in industry lingo. Sticky meaning you can have somebody that comes by and reads your work every now and then or pops in on a radio show, but sticky means somebody that comes in, they listen and they go, oh, geez, I'm coming back tomorrow. And they're there all the time. I have sticky listeners. There's one lady that probably calls me twice a day sometimes. At least once a day. No, I couldn't say that. But she calls a lot. 5 times a week. Safe to say. She knows who she is. We love her. There are people that tell me, Kevin, they tell me there's a problem with your show. I couldn't download the show today, Kevin, because such and such, this and the other. And I tell my web team, hey, what's going on with the show? Oh, geez, we didn't know, Kevin. Because somebody listens every single day. I'll get a note. When Tea Party community, we're doing a big change over there. There's some issues with the site. Kevin, I can't log in. What's going on? Man, because they're sticky. And you love those people. And Donald Trump's people are sticky. I'm putting this in perspective for you. His people are sticky. That's the reason why he won. How many times did the left count this man out? How many? Plenty, right? They count him out after the first debates. They count him out after a couple of faux pas here and there. Psst. You know why he won? Because you're sticky. The 20 to 25% of the people who bought in on Trump early on, they stuck with him through thick and thin. And the more they stuck with him, the more you got on board. And you went, you know what? I get it. And then it became 30, 35%. And then it became 40 to 42%. And then he suddenly won. Blew people's minds. How did this happen? Sticky. When you made the transition to Trump and you finally got there, you were like, you know what? I see exactly what he's saying. I would love to tell you it's because of Trump. Partially it is. Because Trump stayed true to himself. But it also was Trump's essentially telling you, watch for this with the media. Watch how duplicitous they are. And that's what I'm about to get to. And when he did that, you became sticky. You suddenly saw exactly what he was talking about. And you went, you know what? I get it. And like Donald Trump, I've had enough. And we're going to delve into these media tricks that they pulled on him.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Pardon me, Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, KJ Radio. I said earlier, Trump is sticky. His fans, his followers, the people that voted for him, they still like him in large part. And when Trump makes a fan out of you, you become sticky. You stick with him. Oh, he just said such and such. It's okay. I'm not worried about it. I trust him. When have you been able to say that about a politician? Bill Clinton, is he sticky? He came in fourth out of the president's likability on a poll on a leftist site. Do you think he's still sticky? I'll talk more about that in a second. Barack Obama. I could go into reasons why people cannot stand this fool anymore. He's not sticky. Donald Trump won a poll of who was the favorite president of the top four of the last four presidents, 67% to 33% for everybody else, with Barack Obama coming in a distant second place at 22%. He just left office. But the left want you to believe that Donald Trump is not liked. A leftist poll. Bush got third with 7%. Clinton got fourth with 4%. Shocking poll. Now, why is it that Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, when it comes to stickiness, are like Teflon? They don't stick, their people don't stick to them for any reason. Let me give you the quick answer. It's because they're snakes. Snake oil salesmen. Now let's look at Barack Obama. 2008. The man couldn't be beaten by anybody. I'm afraid Jesus might not have been able to beat Barack Obama. Reagan would have gotten his butt handed to him. Obama was Prince Charming. Despite, folks, overwhelming flaws, overwhelming ineptitude. The man offered nothing. Junior senator, community organizer in a place where if all you did was go look, if I would have been running against him, I would have made a film that said, here's what he did. Here's his track record. I don't care about his birth certificate and all that. I'd go talk to black folks in Chicago and say, do you know who Barack Obama is? Yeah, I know Obama. What you think about him? I can't stand that dude, man. He a clown. He crazy, man. He ain't do nothing for us. I'd have just run videos of black folks and said, white America, is this what you want? This message paid for by the Kevin Jackson re-election campaign. Kevin Jackson election for president committee. I would have torched him. But he was loved in 2008. It didn't matter what he did. It became this. And the reason why I tell you, if they'd gone after black folks in Chicago, it could have quelled the notion of the first black president. But no, nobody did it. So the media was fawning all over this guy. I remember I wrote at the time about stuff like Barack. They were following this. He'd gone on vacation. And I called it was his vacation since the invention of Obama. And the hard-hitting news was that Obama had returned to the gym the other day, where we were told he had been there every day except one. Y'all remember those pictures? Barack Obama strain and lift those 5-pound weights. Oh, man, that was too funny. But anyway, they showed him at the beach, right? And you could see his pecs, and they weren't pecs. And I said, slap a B-cup bra on that dude to keep those things from sagging. Didn't somebody tell that dude that 40 was supposed to be the new 30? And I said, but the media was trying to convince us that Obama was a hunk, chicken legs and all. And they got the liberals outraged that pictures were taken of Obama on the beach, and they were inquiring as to how the photographers got that close to baby black Jesus. They got that close because Obama allowed them to get that close. It was orchestrated. Just like at the time they stopped showing Obama smoking. Up to that point, the dude had enjoyed a media love fest rivaling the best Roman orgies. As my granny told me when I was a kid growing up, she said the same thing will make you laugh will make you cry. And the same media that worshipped at the altar of Obama became a bother. It became so ridiculous that we were being told that Obama was out with his kids and they had Rocky Road ice cream. How's that news? But that's the level of ridiculousness that we got to. But by 2012, Obama's star had tarnished substantially. They claimed that it took Sandy, a hurricane practically wiping out New Jersey, to make Obama okay again, because Romney was leading in the polls up to that. And keep in mind, these are fake polls. These are polls where they don't want Romney leading. He was leading. So Obama went out. He found him, some white woman as a prop for a photo op. She's all, and he's hugging her, looking like, oh, poor baby. Poor baby. Poor baby. I got it. It's okay. We're cool. Took a photo op. Completely dismissed that chick. She's writing letters and calling. Hey, listen up. President Barack Obama said I could call him. And then, who are you? Michelle's like, I don't want no white woman calling this White House trying to find my husband. Don't make me come hurt you. The lady finally quit calling. Or maybe they killed her. Maybe they got Hillary to kill her. What do we know? But anyway, that his reelection was complete. And Obama, he went right back to work. He did not disappoint. His failures as president continued, bigger and bolder. And towards the end of his presidency, even black folks were questioning this dude. There were people started speaking out against him. The pundits, everybody. The only thing that kept people from going hard, I'm talking driving the paint on Obama, was the fact that they were trying so hard to get Hillary Clinton in. Tavis Smiley, he'd been a critic of Obama a little bit. These guys doubled down. They were really upset with this guy. So anyway, they started complaining. And by the end, I'm just telling you, he's a has-been. By 2016, he was officially a has-been. Or unofficially, a has-been. You can put the emphasis wherever you want. You know what I'm saying. And then, what about Bill Clinton? His popularity. The man was so popular, he raped and molested women, and leftists yelled, "It's his personal life." Clinton left office highly popular, folks. And typically, presidents gain in popularity. I can't say that with 100% certainty, but I'm saying history pretty much says, look, we forgive you. Jimmy Carter, oh, look at him. He works on Habitats for Humanity. So they make him, oh, he's okay. Jimmy Carter, maybe he was better than we thought. No, he wasn't. He sucked. Jimmy Carter was 4-day-old fish stuffed between the sofa cushions at your house, and you're going, what's that smell? Jimmy Carter. That's what he smells like. Don't get around Jimmy Carter. He's stinky. He's a horrible president, as was Barack Obama. But we're talking about Bill Clinton right now. So Bill Clinton leaves. He's supposed to gain popularity, but it wasn't the case for Hillary Clinton's not-so-secret weapon, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton went on the campaign with Hillary Clinton, and he hurt her. In the second bid, where she was trying to become president of the United States, Bill Clinton torpedoed his wife. Knowingly, unknowingly, I don't know, don't even care. Happy. I'm happy. I don't have to say President Clinton ever again, and never will outside of the context of Bill Clinton. And for George Bush to finish ahead of Clinton, there's blood in the political waters for the left, folks. That just shouldn't happen. You know it and I know it. They know it. Thus the clamor for their new message. Better. Better what? Resonates not, right? And as we chronicled recently, the left has shifted gears on messaging, choosing instead to stop criticizing the president by none other than Nancy Pelosi. And you can bet, folks, that within a few days, the press are going to hand you a new poll. And it's going to say, Trump he's in terrible shape. He's polling less than whatever. Insert your number here. Trump's number is going to be in the tank. Leftism is winning. Fabricated polls. They represent what the left want us to believe. But we can see when they put out their own ad hoc polls and allow people to respond, we get a lot closer to the truth. Do I think Donald Trump is 67% popular and Barack Obama's 22? I don't think it's that high. I don't. But I know Donald Trump's a lot more popular than they let on. It's well over 50%. Now, some are going to argue that this poll, is, being hit hard by conservatives. Trust me, it's not. What it's telling you is they started this poll with leftists. Soon as they started tweeting and retweeting, then everybody got involved, and the numbers are what they are. And it's a very telling poll for what the truth is.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's Kevin Jackson Show. There was a tweet from Matt Walsh. I made it my tweet of the day, and the reason I did that was because it was so profound. And if you don't know who Matt Walsh is, you need to check out his work. He is his Twitter sign is @MattWalshBlog, and he is a really interesting thinker and a guy that I'm going to get to know. I don't think I've ever spoken to Matt. I've seen his work, and he's an amazing guy. And here's what he tweeted. He says, "Women have penises. Babies aren't human. I love science. Pick one. You only get one." And he was giving leftists a chance to put their money where their mouths are. Welcome, everybody. It's Kevin Jackson here. You should tune into the Kevin Jackson Show at kjradio.com if you want to give us a call, 844-551-8255. Now, see, I love those types of conundrums for the left because they don't think things through. The left are emotional people who go, "Oh, well, this is the way it is. I can be who I want to be, or I can whatever." And they and all these things that we talk about on this show quite often are the types of conundrums I like to give them. I talk about abortion and the killing of children, and I go, "Look, guys, you got to understand, I'm not going to argue with you about whether you can or you can't. The only thing I will tell you, I know definitively, is it is a baby. It is the forming of a human being. Now, if we can't agree on that, we can't have the logical discussion that follows. If you want to make it, I just, put out my candle, that's a very different moral conundrum than I just killed a forming child. So that's the thing. And we have to make them think, or else we lose the battle. And so Matt Walsh, which is an amazing thing. He summed it up in 140 letters or less, characters, I should say, because I don't want to just assume that they're letters, because then I would probably offend somebody on the left or trigger them. Women have penises. Babies aren't human. I love science. Because if you love science, then women don't have penises and babies are indeed human. So how do you pick one of these as a leftist without it really being a moral dilemma? And that's what I love about this. That's what I love about what I do. I had to travel recently, and I sat next to a lady, and she was a hipster, 61 years old, attractive woman. She was in the aisle seat I was on the window. She was in the aisle seat, nobody in the middle. Her husband was in the aisle seat on the other side and had two people with him. And so I don't remember how we struck up a conversation, but, she lived in St. Louis. I was from St. Louis. So it was one of these things where I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And so she presumed I was a leftist. She admitted that. At the end of the flight, she goes, "God, I assumed you were a leftist." She goes, "And that's wrong of me." And all this. And so as we were talking, I said, you could tell that she was a leftist, but she was subtle about it. And she said something along the lines, "Well, but the conservatives," and I said, "So what is a conservative?" I go, "I've heard people describe themselves as, I'm a fiscal conservative, but I'm a social liberal." And she started laughing. And she goes, "I've never heard anybody." And admittedly, she said, "I'm not political." So she goes, I've never heard that term. And I said, well, you would probably agree most liberals would describe themselves as socially conservative. Fiscally conservative, because you care about money. You save, you prepare for college for your kids. And she goes, yeah, I would go with that. And it was funny because this admitting that she was a leftist, she was a conservative, was like kind of a shocker to her. Like, I am fiscally conservative. Huh? So then I said, but the real issue becomes, what is a social liberal? And I said, and that's where we run into our problem. Because I said, for me, I'm socially liberal because I don't believe that the things that liberals believe that they have are there. And I gave her examples. And so it was so funny to have her go, because she was asking me about the black condition and all that. And I go, okay, well, let's run it through. Let's see how it works for you as a liberal. I said, you believe you can help me as a black person. I said, isn't that somewhat patronizing just to begin with? Like, well, without my help, you, Kevin, would have a problem. And I go, and you could see the wheels kind of spinning like, well, I could kind of go with that. And I go, okay. And so I said, so you claim you want to help me because you give me better grades, you give me affirmative action, you give me jobs I'm not qualified for, you keep me in them even if I'm incompetent. And I went on. And I said, and how does that help me? If I'm in a job that I can't handle, that you give to me, I can grow with the job, but you don't allow me to grow because you coddle me then. You just kind of tuck me away. You don't allow me to grow really in terms of I could start my own business or whatever. You coddle me through the job. So I can hang around based on affirmative action, but I don't really get anywhere. I'm never going to be on my own. You're not challenging me to be really great at the job. I said, same with school. You give me lower grades to get the same thing that the Asian kid or the white kids get. I go into the school. I said, now, if you said to me, Kevin, your grades don't get you in there by themselves, but you know what? We see something in you and we believe you're going to be able to do, perform at Harvard. So we're going to put you in, but you better go there and make a believer out of me, young man. I said, that's a challenge. I said, but if you tell me, Kevin, look, we're going to alter the grades. You're up there with all the other kids. And I go there and I find out I'm not. It's demoralizing. I said, one is a challenge. The other demoralizes. And she was like, yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah. And I went, yeah. And, so we talked about that. I'm not kidding you. The more things we talked about, the more discussions we had, the more her mind got blown. It got blown. She told me, my brother, he's the only conservative. He's a weirdo in the family. And this is before she knew I was a conservative. And she's telling me how weird her brother was. And he's just gone off the deep end. That was her words. She described her brother as having gone off the deep end because he is the only one in her family who's gone this way. And I said, your brother's not off the deep end. I said, your brother, because he loves Trump. So here's where it kind of began. She says, Kevin, when we kind of started talking about Obama versus Trump, and I go, I don't love Trump. I go, I love Trump's performance. I said, see, that's the difference. I go, you probably like Obama. She goes, I do. And I go, well, what do you like about it? She goes, and so I said, well, let me give you an example. So I gave her the example of Obama saying that Trump could not save Carrier. And Trump said, I'll save it. And I said, Trump was flippant when he said, he goes, I'll save Carrier. Nothing. Like, don't even bother me about that. I'll save Carrier. He said it many times. I'll save Carrier. Then, and Obama, of course, as you guys know, said, you can't do it. He's lying to you. He's selling you snake oil. It can't be done. We're going to lose these industries. Manufacturing's gone away, blah, blah, blah. And he saves Carrier. And I explained to her, I said, within a month, as president-elect, Donald Trump not only saved Carrier, GM says we're not moving off. Ford says we're not moving our plant. GM says we're going to build our new plant here. Apple Computer says it's going to bring back money, trillions of dollars. It's already starting to reinvest in America and bringing manufacturing back. IBM's bringing 25,000 jobs. U.S. Steel in St. Louis opened up its plant in Madison, across the river in Madison, employed 200 people and said they're going to fire up the whole plant soon. SoftBank added 50. So I listed all these things and I said, Donald Trump did that in his first month after Barack Obama. And I said, now, let's just stop for a second. You may not like Trump, but do you like that? And she looked at me. She goes, I didn't know any of that. And I went, I'm not surprised. And I said, so when you talk about a comparison between these two guys, Barack Obama had 8 years and he told us that we couldn't save industries. Things were not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And you get a guy that comes in and he's barely out of the blocks and he's already done that. Which would you rate as the better president, taking away the personalities? And you could tell it was just painful for her. And I said, you check this stuff out. Don't believe me. Go check it out for yourself. And we left the conversation where I honestly can't remember what where she said she was going to research, but it was her last question to me, and it shocked her. Whatever I told her, it shocked her. I'm talking about to her core. And she goes, Kevin, this has been the most interesting conversation I've had in a long time. And she says, thank you. And she goes, I'm actually going to find you on Fox. I want to watch you on Fox. But that was our conversation. Folks, talk to somebody. Let them know how you feel.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. Irma landed, and they say that she would have killed more people or whatever had it not been for, pardon me, the planning and everything that was done in advance. So Harvey taught us quite a bit. I believe Governor Rick Scott did the right thing, evacuating, 650,000 people. So I don't know what the damage is going to be, the assessment, but we're in hurricane season, and we've had two pretty big hurricanes hit the coast, and we'll recover. We'll be fine. And I know the people of Texas, Houston, are still coming out from under what they're doing. But, it's funny. You haven't heard a thing about the people of Harvey. Texans just suck it up, and they make it happen and move on. And I'm sure Floridians will do the same thing. So we feel for our folks out there. We broadcast on WGUL and WLSS, part of the Answer series of radio stations owned by Salem Radio Networks. So we want you guys to know our hearts go out to you, knowing that Irma is maybe still, the remnants are certainly still there, even though it's not pounding you the way it was earlier over the weekend and through the week. But we do think about you and hope that everything is okay. So lots going on in the news. I'm traveling about. I've got quite a few things going on. We're planning. It's just busy. Seriously, I'm swamped right now. I'll be back in New York doing Outnumbered. I mentioned the other day Eric Bowling was no longer going to be back at Fox, and then we learned that his son committed suicide, and just a tragic story. And they canceled The Specialist, which my play mom did not like it anyway. She liked Eric, but she didn't like Ebony. And what was funny, between Ebony and I guess the other girl's name was Kat, I would get different things. Oh, I like Kat, or I like Ebony, but I hate Ebony and I can't stand Kat. Try to be too funny and all this. Well, anyway, it's gone. I don't know what's going to happen. I've been in talks with these guys about shows that they could do, and we'll see. I mean, if I get a show, great. If I don't, honestly, I don't care. I care in the sense that getting a show raises your profile, and suddenly you become, a target the left is going to do. But I'm used to that, so no big deal. And I care in the sense that it puts the message further out there, but outside of that, I don't really care. Hey, so radio, I'm also been interviewing with Fox Radio for a spot, and I did a couple nights on their show, a couple weeks ago, I guess it's been, and I'll be doing others. I talked to John, who's the VP up there, and he's like, yeah, Kev, we're going to have you back, etc. But the reason why I bring it up is because I've got my radio show, which we've been, promoting. We've got a team of people that do stuff, and radio is just, I got to tell you, it's one of the most difficult mediums, but we need your help to make sure that you're, if you hear something on the show, go to KJ Radio and push it out there. We are horrible at marketing. We understand how important it is for the message to get out there, my team. We really do. We have meetings about this every morning, but we are terrible at it. I wish I could give you some better news. And people will take my stuff and do stuff with it and do 10 times more than we do. And my team will get so frustrated. Look at what those guys, Kevin, they took a clip and they added it to this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, where's that creativity from you guys? And so it's frustrating. But if you guys have any ideas around how to promote the show, give us a call. Send us a note to kjradio.com or give us a call at 844-551-8255. If you're a marketing guru or you're a social media guru or some way to help us out, help us out. And the reason why I'm chuckling is because I tell people, my team all the time, I go, guys, look, I went from being a management consultant to a Fox News contributor in whatever length of time, 3 best-selling books, etc. How much do you want me to do? I can't go learn social media too in my free time. I got a kid that plays 3 sports at a pretty good level, where he could be on a traveling baseball team, and he's good enough to fight tournaments every weekend in martial arts, and he's becoming a pretty good golfer. And I got to take him to train for all that stuff in the middle of training for my own stuff, as well as, spending time with my other boys from time to time and family and friends, etc. You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty busy. So look, the one thing you're not going to get from this show is a bunch of ego. We will admit when we don't know something and we stink at marketing. And if we were any good at it, I'd probably be competing against Limbaugh in a serious way. We joke about it. We're in the time slot in a lot of markets, but holy cow, it's just we just don't know how to market. And I think it's one of these things where, and y'all listen to me, my team is going, stop. No, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to air our dirty laundry. But I know we try so hard, but you know what? It's probably not even worth going into. And I'm not revealing anything other than just saying we stink at it. And if you can't admit that to yourselves, then shame on you. But you guys are brilliant out there. You have knowledge beyond belief and resources and things like this. We got to turn this thing into something big in the sense of, first of all, that it feeds the children, because all my team they got to eat. And they have careers that they're sacrificing to make this happen. But more importantly, we got to get the word out. How many times? Look, I'm flying around with people talking to leftists, blah, 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 having this discussion around all these different issues. And my team is going, it doesn't seem like we're getting the reach that we need to be getting. Well, we're not. We are not. Anyway, I got to tell you, I've just ripped into some stuff here. I wanted to talk about this Candy lawsuit, but I also wanted to finish the discussion that I was having about this girl on a plane in reference to Matt Walsh's work. So we'll get to that. Anyway, another thing we want to talk about, and I talked about it on the show, I don't know, a few days ago, maybe last week, and it had to do with this compilation of fake news. And it was, when I look back in retrospect, it was so intriguing how much and how the left probably don't even realize they're doing it, and we have to sort of show them. We got to put this out there. So I want to talk about that. And then I'm really intrigued by a story about this leftist girl who hooks up with Trump supporters. So we'll talk about that as well. And this hour, I don't know why this is a big deal to me, but I do want to cover the NFL. I don't know if you guys watched any of the football over the weekend, but the season opened, and I want to cover that as well. So look, we got a lot to talk about. Keep it here. We'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
At the end of the day, it's selfish. So I'm Palestinian. If I want to say I'm black, I'm black.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. That was Linda Sarsour, whatever. You've seen her around. She's a Muslim lady that pretends that she really loves America, and she is a front for the Muslim Brotherhood. She wants to make Islam seem palatable. I mentioned that I rode with a lady on the airplane. Her name was Amanda. And she says to me, Kevin, what do you think about the Muslims? Once she figured out I was a conservative, and I said, I don't have a problem with Arabs. And she says, well, what do you think about Donald Trump's, ban on Muslims? I go, it's really funny you put it that way, and I said, knowing your politics, I said it was identical to what Barack Obama did, except it was actually less intrusive to Muslims. And she says, what? And I said, yeah. I said, Barack Obama did identically the same thing. And so she admitted, she goes, I'm getting a lot of information from you because, I'm really not into politics. She says, I'm on my own spiritual path. And I said, well, good for you. I said, you should be. And so we talked of conservatism. And I said to her, you know something? Conservatives really encourage you to be on a path of enlightenment, whatever you choose. We don't ridicule it. I said, if you notice, and we had a 3-hour conversation. So I got to know her, and her husband was right across the way. His name is Phil. And I said to her, you notice that I haven't challenged you, and I haven't said stuff like, oh my gosh, you're a liberal, or oh my gosh, it's not, I don't have a disdain for you because your politics differ from me. And I said, she is an archaeologist. And I said, you're probably very good in your field. And I said, you're probably a very bright person, but you're not really studying these issues as I am. And that's okay. I go, you're looking for enlightenment. I said, but you notice that I don't attack you. I just ask you questions. And she goes, yeah. And I said, now, from your perspective, the other side, I go, your family, they would be attacking me at this point, knowing that I'm a conservative. And it was funny because she thought I was a liberal. And I said, they'd be attacking me. They, you like Donald Trump? And you don't like Barack Obama? No, I don't like Barack Obama, and I do like Trump. I like Trump's policies. I like his thought processes. He's an interesting person to me to watch because I don't think like him, though our outcomes are much the same. And that's what intrigues me most about Donald Trump. But anyway, she asked me about that, and I said it was the same thing that Barack Obama did. She goes, well, then well, why are they mad at Trump? And I go, well, there you go. I go, I said, that's the problem with leftism. I said, if Barack Obama had done good things, I would have been his champion. I said, despite him being, and I explained his how he got elected, where I said Barack Obama got elected by being a prolific voter registration driver guy. And I said, but he knew that they were invalid. So when it was his turn to run for office, he competed against the lady whom he had gotten the voter registrations for and informed people that they were invalid. So he got crooked ballots, then gave them to the lady, then said, by the way, those ballots are crooked. And so she gets railroaded out. He takes over her seat. Then I said he got to be in the Senate because he cheated Ryan out of his office by exposing his nasty divorce that was sealed. He somehow got people to unseal the records, and Ryan suddenly became a guy who was at swingers parties and not taking care of his kids and all these things that were just, allegations made by his wife in a bad divorce. So Barack Obama becomes senator. Then I told her he passed 3 pieces of legislation in all his time in both the Congress, Senate, and as a state senator or whatever he was for the state of Illinois. 3 pieces of legislation, the most prolific of which was you can't take hazardous materials directly through Chicago. You have to take the loop. I go, and that's a guy who you want to be president. Then you tell us he's the smartest guy in the world. And I gave her the example of saying that we couldn't save Carrier. And Donald Trump saves Carrier within, 2 weeks of being in office as president-elect. He was like, done. And I go, now, how do you rationalize that? And she just sat there, eyes glazed over, I should say. Just like, whoa, who is this? And so, it was a funny conversation because in the end, she became enlightened. Now, I want to go back to Linda Sarsour. So Linda Sarsour says, I'm Palestinian, but if I want to be black, I can be black. That's the world of liberals. That's the world that Amanda lives in. That she's like, you be who you want to be. You can be who you want to be. But I go back to Matt Walsh's quote, or his tweet, I should say, where Matt essentially said, you got to pick. Can women have penises? Can I forget what he said about babies, but and I love science. Babies in the womb are not babies or something like that. And he says, I love science. You pick between those 3, because what he's saying to you is what left will do is they will distort to the point where it's no longer reality. And the problem is there are far too many Amandas out there who are unplugged. And you know why she said she unplugged? She said she unplugged because she goes, it just was too vitriolic. People were arguing too much. The left get people to unplug by constant chaos. Ask yourself this. Have you wanted to unplug? Do you know people who've unplugged? I'm sitting in the airport. An Asian man sits by me and he looks over, he says, excuse me, but do you play professional basketball? I rarely get that. I get baseball, I get football, and occasionally some people that remember me from my martial arts days. But are you? I was like, no. He goes, I've seen you on TV. And I go, yeah, probably on political TV. Oh, okay. I said, I'm on Fox. And then it dawned on him, but he told me the same thing. He said he unplugged. He says, Kevin, I unplugged. He goes, I watch things now like, what was it? American Pickers. And then we start talking about American Pickers. A black dude and an Asian are talking about our love of American Pickers and Pawn Stars. Because, and he goes, I said to him, why do you think it is? He says, I don't know. And I said, do you think it's mindless? He goes, yes, that's it. I don't have to think. And he goes, and I look at the stuff that they do and I know nothing about it. And they tell me the values and all that. And you can tell he's an IT guy. So his mind was intrigued. But, he had to shut down. And that's what we've been watching people shut down. How many people? I got a buddy, his name is Paul. He plays saxophone. He's a great saxophone player, and he's now creating music for Hollywood and stuff like that. And about 3 years ago, Paul went from being on the radio and hosting us to just going boop. And he contacted me about a year ago, and he's like, "Hey, Kev, Paul here." I'm like, "Man, what are you doing?" He goes, "Dude, I had to unplug. I don't remember if it was, I think it was post-Obama, but maybe 2 years in where we were still, we're still talking about the same things, healthcare and all this. Anyway, I got to shut it down, folks. We'll be back in a bit.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Kevin Jackson here. It's Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you're with me. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And here's what I want to tell you. I want to tell you that I covered this a little bit the other day. I talked to you about the NFL opening day, the numbers going down, but I didn't do a deep enough dive. And I want to go into a bit more detail because I think it's relevant. It's relevant for you to understand how powerful you are, but there are other forces at play. Dark forces. Black forces. Black leftists get mad at me. "Yeah, you go selling out there, Mr. Uncle Tom." Whatever. I'm going to be doing a training session up in Chicago with some guys for martial arts. And this guy that keeps threatening me, I said, "Hey, you're more than welcome to come." I said, "All you got to do is sign the waiver. And I promise you, with all that you've been writing to me, I'm going to embarrass you." See, there's some people, you just knock them out. It's like, when the bad guy in the movie says, "If you tell me what I need to know, I'll kill you quickly." And there's something to be said for that. But let me tell you, I have been, look, I got a lot of fighters that are friends of mine. And let me tell you, the worst thing you can do is make somebody mad at you and he keep you in the ring or keep you in the fight, giving you just enough hope that maybe you can do something, because that's going to hurt. I've seen it, and I'm not that proud to say, but I've done it. Fought somebody and said, "Oh, okay, it's like that. I'm going to keep you around." Like as if the people paid enough, like, "Y'all done paid $100 for pay-per-view. I got to give you something to look at here," because, it's like I was saying with Mayweather when he fought, what's his face? He could have knocked that dude out in 5 rounds. He could have. He's like, I'll let him fight. I'll let him feel good about himself. Why do I need to, I'm going to win this fight. Mayweather knew that within 3 punches of that fight. I'm not exaggerating that. Anyway, I'm inviting this guy up to come train. Come up, but sign the waiver, because I'm telling you, I'm going to punish him. There's a guy that he writes to me, he says, "Kevin, I really like your show, but I don't like when you talk about all that, pugilist and stuff." Oh, sorry. What I'm telling you folks is there are forces at play here. They want you to be afraid. They want you to believe that you're not winning. That is bullying you. You better be glad there's somebody talking about, I will go out there and gladly give my life in protection of this movement and you. I'm glad to know I exist, not just for my kids. Look, I could go away. I tell my son all the time, we'll be training and he'll get lazy and I walk off. I just walk away. I go, "Look, one of us knows martial arts. The other one's learning. I know which one I am. So if you want to goof off, but I got better things to do." And I'll leave. And he knows it. He knows that of every sport. Anyway, fake black, BLM racist Sean, I swear I'm black, King, called for a complete boycott of the NFL. And I told you guys this. They had the Colin Kaepernick deal in New York, and a handful of black people showed up. "We gonna support our multimillionaire crybaby. Yeah, man, somebody got to give Colin a job. Colin need a job. NFL is racist." Too funny. So they're calling the NFL racist, blah, blah, blah. We're going to boycott. NFL's going to feel it, man. And the NFL, yeah, I will tell you this. You can't teach these suckers a lesson. They are too far gone. They got so many blacks in the sport, they're concerned. What if we offend all these blacks? Let me tell you, the majority of blacks in the NFL don't give a rat's behind about Colin Kaepernick. If Colin Kaepernick disappeared tomorrow, they wouldn't even know him. They'd be like, who was that? What, the quarterback of 49? What was his name? Other than the fact that he's got a strange name for a black man. Hey, Colin, if you're going to change your name, change it to X. NFL comes off one of its worst seasons in decades, and they still don't get it. They still don't get who's large and in charge. The NFL commissioner had the chance to stop the bleeding, and he fumbled the football, threw an interception, ran out the clock, but he still needed to kick a field goal. Whatever. Use whatever football analogy you want. But if Goodell, I think his name is Goodell, right? Roger Goodell. Anyway, if he had said to those black babies, anybody who doesn't stand for the national anthem will be suspended indefinitely from the league without pay, you'd see where the loyalty of these clowns lies. Because I'm going to tell you something. Every one of these black dudes that's sitting his butt on the bench or taking a knee or whatever you want to say, they would be standing at attention for the man, stepping and fetching it. That's what they accuse me of. You're Uncle Tom, step and fetch it. I guarantee you, if Roger Goodell said you better stand or you lose your career, you'd watch black dudes standing. There wouldn't be a single one of those guys that would not stand. They would never disrespect that paycheck. But instead of warning these social justice pansies, aka ethnocentric black races, that the league won't tolerate disrespecting America, ergo the fans of the sport, Goodell punted. He condoned black wannabe terrorists who opt to sit out the national anthem, and now he pays the price. So Breitbart did the story on it, and this is what we talked about. They opened the season on Thursday night, and it played out like it did last year. It featured the team that had won the final game, okay, of the last season. High scoring, lots of offense, the whole deal. And it even had a national anthem protest. And their ratings went down. The game between the Chiefs and the Patriots, I'll go over these stats again. 14.6 overnight rating on NBC. Down almost 2 full percentage points, which were 16.5, for the Panthers-Broncos. Remember, the Broncos won the year before. More than 3 points down from the Steelers-Patriots opener in 2015. Remember, the Patriots had won that year. This was before Kaepernick pulled his stunt. That was the highest last opening. After that, it's been dropping. Now, I told you guys, I had no idea when the season opener was. I didn't even know there was a game played on Thursday to save my life. I had no idea who was playing. But here's what's really funny. If I had known and they had told me it's going to be the Super Bowl winner, it's going to be a barn burner, it's going to be a shootout, I can assure you I still wouldn't have watched it. I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have cared. If you'd been saying to me, Kevin, you going to watch the game? No, I ain't watching the game. Well, you know it's going to be, don't even bother to tell me. I'm not watching the game. It could be Battle of the Titans. It could be the rematch of Hearns Leonard. It could be the Thriller in Manila of football, and I'm not going to watch it. And I think that many of you had the same answer. So Breitbart's article asked, why the steep decline? I just gave you the answer. Many people believe as I do. They had the same revelations, whatever you want to call it, that I had, that said, you know what, or concept, maybe that's not the right word either, but you decided what I decided, that you won't know part of it. I cannot tell you. I watch my Twitter feed, and I see people go, there'll be something on football. Not watching it. I'm not watching it because of Kaepernick. I'm not watching it because they don't respect the national anthem. I'm not watching it. And I keep telling you guys, you keep this up, you will change the sport. You will change the way they view social engineering. Watch Goodell. He'll be fired. How long do you think they're going to let these numbers go down? Billions of dollars that they get in TV revenue. As the numbers go down, when you quit watching it, Sponsors go, why am I going to invest in the Super Bowl commercials and this, that, and the other? And I pray that you guys pay attention to me and you boycott the Super Bowl. You let it go. You don't follow it. Don't let them get those numbers. Anyway, he says, while the ratings have trended down for a number of seasons, last night's game featured a protest by a guy named Marcus Peters. He's a cornerback. I don't know if you guys saw it. A guy named David Hewlett, who is the staff photographer for the Kansas City Chiefs, he took the photograph. Now you're going, what's the big deal? It is a big deal. He's the staff photographer. He's the media for the game. And he showed Peters sitting down. He didn't take a knee. You see everybody around him standing up. A guy named West, a brother, standing up. Peters, cornerback, number 22, sitting down. And he says, Chiefs CB Marcus Peters sits on trainer's bench during national anthem. And it went all over KC. What's Kansas City going to do? I don't know. What's the NFL going to do? Nothing. It won't have the same resonance as Kaepernick, but fine. You want to be that guy, Peters? You want to be the next guy? Be the next guy. We got a new guy to teach a lesson to. I can't wait. I want to see these guys. No karma intended here, folks. You bring it on yourself. I want to see them get what's due to them. I want to see their paychecks go down, if not disappear. You want to be a social justice warrior? Go do what Barack Obama did, community organize in Chicago or wherever you're from.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here, the author of Race Pimping, the multi-trillion-dollar business of liberalism, speaker, political pundit. Call me whatever you want, but what I do is I explain what's going on in terms you can understand, and hopefully in terms that the left interpret and understand themselves, because I get letters, I get mail from you guys. Occasionally the left is saying, Kevin, thank you for changing my mind. In some cases, changing my heart, making me understand things differently. Isn't that our role? And what you're doing when you boycott Starbucks, when you boycott Target, when you boycott these leftist social engineering organizations that want to change you, Hollywood, when you boycott them, when you let your dollars do the talking, they start to listen. See, they've been feasting on us. You go to Starbucks and you pay $5 and change for a cup of coffee that costs pennies to make. And they find that the money that they make is how they value themselves. So they go, I'm more valuable than you. I can say whatever I want and you still buy that $5 and change cup of coffee. You let me make $5 profit on you for an 8-ounce thing of water with a few chemicals in it. And so they think they're relevant. You go pay, you take your family to some stupid game. You buy all the football gear, the jerseys, Kaepernick, San Francisco, boom. You fill the seats. You go to the playoff games, you watch the Super Bowl, you watch it on TV, and they think they're relevant. They're a bunch of bad. Look, I'm not mad at them for being great sports people, and there's some smart ones there. But you see the occasional baboons that get all the attention, and Colin Kaepernick is one of them. He's a Neanderthal who believes the hype, that we live in a country that gave him the opportunity to change things. He could go out and do all kinds of great things with his life. But instead, he focuses on the lie. And he propagates that lie, and he wants you to believe it. And the NFL backs him. They give him an audit. Oh, it's okay. He takes a knee. Roger Goodell, he said, I forget what his exact quote was, but in effect, he condoned this dude taking a knee. It's being too much is being made of this. The NFL must allow blah, blah, blah. The NFL can do what it wants. It's an organization. It's a company. It's a business. And it can do what it wants. But no, they don't want that. They want to capitulate to the whims of the leftists in this country. So who's to blame for the ratings? SAG and the NFL, you are. And congratulate yourselves. But Sean, I wish I were really black. King wants to take credit for our moves. It reminds me of the scene in True Lies where Bill Paxton is talking to Jamie Lee Curtis at that cafe, and he says, yeah. And he slides the paper over and he says, there are a few bad guys that won't be phoning home in the next whatever. And Jamie Curtis is like, that's you? And then Tom Arnold says to Arnold Schwarzenegger, hey, he's taking credit for our moves, man. Well, that's what Sean King's trying to do. That's what the Black Lives Matter guys are trying to do. We're the reason the NFL is losing ratings. They better give Colin Kaepernick a job. Let me tell you, even Roger Goodell better not be that stupid. Isn't he the guy that runs the NFL? He better not be that stupid. King's called for a complete boycott of the NFL. He wants you and the rest of the world to believe that BLM is responsible for the drop in ratings. But he's just hanging on our coattails. The drop in the ratings was clearly underway. And guess what? I'm going to tell you a little secret. We're not done. That's right, NFL. It ain't over, baby. They blamed the drop on Hurricane Irma. The suggestion, folks, is laughable. Obviously, they're grasping at straws. No hurricane is going to cause a 12% drop in ratings unless that hurricane's named as Hurricane Conservatives. Maybe Hurricane Trump, but you're not going to get that. And the polling suggests that I'm 100% right. Consider, 44% of fans said they would stop watching the NFL if the anthem protests continued. 44%. Now you do the math. They've seen another 12% drop. So I don't know which poll was done when, but almost half of the people are like me that said, if they keep it up, I'm done. J.D. Power did a survey. It indicated that the fans cited the national anthem as the main reason they stopped watching last year. So, as my friends would say on the street, if I'm lying, I'm dying. We know why this is happening. It's the anthem. It isn't because Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job. You're not going to convince anybody that the NFL is racist. Remember I played this clip, I don't know, it was about 2 weeks ago. Guy was whining on it, Hannity or Tucker. NFL is racist, man. Yeah, and Tucker goes, it's 70% black. How can it be racist? It's racist. It's racist against other nationalities. No, man, because, ownership. There's no black ownership. Really? Well, you would think there was, because all these white dudes are hiring black guys. You're reinforcing my argument. How racist is it that white guys have employed blacks to the tune of 70%? Listen, nothing. You can't say anything to that. It's racist because the owners. Okay, so if you had black owners, how much blacker would the NFL be? It's 70%. It's 500% blacker than the population of blacks. Per capita, you know what I'm saying? If black people owned all the NFL teams, it would probably get whiter. Unbelievable. So what's changed in the NFL? Last year they had bad ratings. This year They got bad ratings. Let me tell you what happened. The NFL went silent. They hoped the problems would go away. But not only did the problems not disappear, folks, the problems grew. It metastasized. Blacks protested on behalf of Colin Kaepernick, so the NFL's silence backfired. First, they protest for this loser. The protest for this loser reinforces America's feeling towards the NFL. Again, the NFL missed the opportunity to say to Kaepernick, there's no place in the league for people like him, regardless of your talent level. You can be, if you think you're that big, I can show you you're not. I go back to industry. Who's indispensable? Secondly, the NFL might lose some black audience given that no team wants Kaepernick. That's going to be a minor thing, but you got to calculate it in there. So I go back to the earlier statement I made, where I mentioned that if the NFL commissioner had made it clear that for Kaepernick to come back to the NFL, he would have to agree to stand for the anthem, it would have been different. And in fact, I heard this. I don't know if this is true, but I heard Kaepernick had agreed that he would stand for the anthem with at least one team, or if he came back into the NFL, regardless of whether he did or he didn't, if it had been made clear that that's the way you're going to get in and stay in, the onus would have been on Kaepernick to decide what's worth more. Playing the sport that he loves for millions of dollars or standing on principle. And see, that's why the NFL didn't do it. They didn't want to embarrass the left and make Kaepernick have to stand on principle. But a staunch statement against these antics and the NFL would have been back on track. I guarantee you, I would have watched it. I would have said, you just won my vote. It's important, folks, that the NFL is made clear who affects its ratings. It is not Black Lives Matter. Conservatives are responsible for the ratings drop. Our dollars fuel the U.S. economy and allow for the indulgences of season tickets to ball games and the purchase of NFL gear and the cable packages that we all get at our homes. It would be so unfortunate if we allowed BLM to co-opt the work that's been done by us, a mistake of the highest order. Now, if you're asking me, what do we need to do? Keep doing what you're doing. Take the NFL package off your cable. Take it off. If it doesn't come on a regular channel, tell them, how do I get rid of the NFL package? I've already asked my cable company that. I don't watch the games. I don't want to see it. I don't know the score. Get out of your fantasy league. Don't watch it. Don't look at the stats. It forces you to stay away from it. For all goodness sake, don't buy any gear. Let them see not only the drop in attendance on watching the show, let them see a 20-30% drop in NFL gear purchase. And you'll see what happens. Let's make these people hurt in their pocketbook. That's what they need.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. DACA fraud? Say it ain't so. Yeah, I don't even have the story on this yet. My producers were, teasing this with me, and I'm not surprised that in the DREAM Act there's fraud. But we'll get into it another time. I want to talk about, again, I always talk to you guys about things that I find sort of bizarre about the left. Before I do that, Kevin Jackson is who I am. Let me introduce myself to the newbies. KJRadio.com. You can call the show at 844-551-8255. And yes, I'm a Fox News contributor and best-selling author and all that other stuff. So there you go. If you decide you want to continue listening, please do so. Anyway, leftists, there's stories out there all the time that define these guys. And they get mad at me when I point these things out to them. I love the death spiral of leftism. All you got to do is talk it through. I've made a bet with you guys that bring your smartest leftists on this show, the most brilliant mind you have. Give me 10 questions to ask them, and I will spin them into the death spiral. And I may only need to use 4. And I've done this enough times to where I'm very confident. It's like name that tune. I can name that tune in 4 notes. I can put a leftist in the death spiral in 4 questions. Now, if you say to me, Kevin, can you do that on immigration? Yes, I can put him in the death spiral in 4 questions. Kevin, can you do that on refugee resettlement and terrorism? Yes, I can do it in 4 questions. But can you do it on the black condition? I can do it in 2 questions. Depending on the topic, no more than 10, and obviously, in some cases, only 1. Name that tune. Spin that leftist. That's what we should call the show. Spin that leftist. So what happens is, as I'm perusing the news, I can see things that have leftism written all over it. You'll hear a story about, so a good example, over the weekend, I don't watch football. And I happened to catch part of a football show while I was at the airport because I was waiting on food. And the Cowboys were up 3-0. I think they were playing the Giants. And let me tell you, if it weren't for forcing people to watch football it's like CNN at the airport. If CNN did not, I don't know how they got this gig, but they dominate the airports. No matter where you go in the United States, it's always CNN. If they let you choose, if you could say, can y'all change the channel? I want to watch Fox. CNN's ratings would plummet. Nobody would request MSNBC's nonsense. But anyway, I was watching the football game as I was waiting on my food. And it just dawned on me, football's on. Now, I've already talked about football, the ratings going down and all that. If you want to check out the on-demand podcast at kjradio.com. We talked about it in the first hour. But then I get this story. It said 8 people were killed at a Dallas football watch party. It was in Dallas, Texas. Some girl disrespected a dude by saying, I don't want to be with you or whatever. She goes back into the house. A guy comes in with an automatic, not a semi-automatic, and starts, that's where you just hold your finger on the trigger and let the gun do the talking. And he mows down a total of 8 people. I guess I don't know how he got killed, and I don't know the details of the story. You can look it up. But over a football party, these people get mowed down. So what do I think to myself? Leftist. And you're going, Kevin, how can you just make that assumption? Because first of all, conservatives, we aren't sitting around here going, I wonder if a woman does not want to talk to me, should I mow her down? Kill her and all her friends. We don't think like that. We don't act like that. We just go, you know what? There's a time and place to have this discussion. Have fun with your friends, and you walk away. So I have these things that give me these insights. And then there was another story. I'll give you one that I can give you some detail on. It was the Candy lawsuit. It was from Reason.com is where I saw the story. And the Chicago Tribune reported that this area guy from Chicago had sued Wrigley. You guys know who Wrigley is, right? Wrigley Gum. They own Wrigley Field, etc., alleging that the packaging of the company's Starburst candies deceived him. He was deceived. Plaintiff's name is Artur Tysinski. And he says that on the front of the company's Starbucks package that he purchased, the candy contains 10 fewer calories per piece than the FDA mandated nutrition facts panel on the back of the package says it does, which is 140. So the candy is less fattening, or I shouldn't say that because it doesn't have a lot of fat. It has lots of sugar. It has less caloric content than advertised. Artur Tysinski never would have bought the corn syrup and sugar-sweetened gummy sours candy at a Chicago area drugstore earlier this year, had he known, it contained 8% more calories. So and I'm going back to this, 10 fewer calories per piece. So it has more calories than they've advertised. So the suit that claims Wrigley engaged in misleading marketing and consumer fraud seeks, quote, actual damages, treble damages, statutory damages, punitive damages, attorney's fees, and cost, and injunctive release. And it also seeks class action status, meaning that anybody who's paid $2.49 for the same Starburst could join him in the lawsuit unless they opt out. So if you've bought Starburst, you can sue Wrigley. You can join Mr. Tasinski and sue Wrigley's for getting you fatter than you should be. And I said to myself, see, that's a leftist. Because when I ate candy as a kid, I'm sure you can vouch for me here, people. Y'all ain't that young now. They didn't even have that stuff on there. You just went and you bought your Baby Ruth or your Butterfinger or your Snickers, and you just ate to your heart's content. And nobody worried about the fat content because you were ripping and running up and down the streets anyway, burning that sugar faster than it could enter your body. Nowadays, you sit around, if you're a kid, you sit around playing video games. The only thing getting exercise are your thumbs. Anyway, that's when I look at liberalism and go, this country's gone crazy. This man wants to sue because he enjoyed a snack and it had calorie content that differed from the package.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Holy cow. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Every time I look at these fake news pictures, I swear, I just get more and more intrigued. Oh, my goodness. I'm so glad you're here. This is so enlightening. When it's funny to have researchers go out and find stuff that, because look, folks, there's too much information out there. Even a guy dedicated to it, like myself, who gave up his career to do this. And I find myself just shaking my head going, are you serious? It's amazing to see it, seriously. So I told you guys about these fake news media flip-flops. And I really encourage leftists to defend this stuff. Their opinions on the same issues depend solely on whether or not they get their way, or, the person saying it is one of them. Those are the criteria for them to make their selection on, do I, like what you just did or do I not? You've seen those, man on the street deals where they will give Barack Obama's actual legislation and say Trump did it, and people go, yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love, oh yeah, it's great. And then the next person, yeah, no, I like that. Like that. So it'll be, Barack Obama, Donald Trump issued a travel order that did this, that, and the other. Donald Trump forced you to get your health care. I like it. I like it, whatever. And I mean, I hate it. Then if you go, well, that's what Barack Obama did all that. Okay. And then they walk away, they skulk away. Drives me. It doesn't drive me crazy. It just tells me that these people, why would you pay attention to somebody who is going to shift with the wind? You couldn't trust them. Just imagine that you say to your buddy, yeah, man, so look, if anything ever happened to me, would you bail me out of jail? Yeah, man, I got you, man. Yeah. And you're going, yeah, but this is the same dude that, flip-flops on this, that, and the other. Are you confident? Is that going to be the first call you make? I don't think so. Anyway, here, I want to go through some of these. These are amazing. Slate. Donald Trump. This is November 19th, 2015. Same author, okay? November 19th. Remember that. Donald Trump is actually a moderate Republican. That's why he's winning. That's the title and the subtitle. November 25th, 6 days later, Donald Trump is a fascist. This isn't a partisan attack. It is the political label that best describes what the GOP frontrunner has become. So from November the 19th to the 25th, according to Jamel Bowie, Donald Trump went from being a moderate Republican to a fascist on Slate magazine. Don't believe me, folks. We wrote an article about this, and as I went back and looked at this stuff, I was like, you've got to be, these people they're crazy. And then leftist rag Salon, who accuses the right of trivializing Nazi and Hitler references. And we have the same writer in October of 2007, and here's what the title was: Nazis and Hitler, the right's casual trivializing political insults. In April of 2016, the same author: Is Donald Trump a new Hitler? Hannah Arendt might argue that they're closer than you think. So the person who has essentially, chastised people that they keep, hot Nazis and Hitler, blah, 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 they trivializes it is easily with Donald Trump. Again, that was Salon Magazine, a leftist rag. Now, what was interesting, and this is the reason why I want to talk about this next one, the Democrats have a big advantage in the Electoral College. I don't know if you guys recall, during the election, they said it's almost impossible for Trump to win because the Democrats on their face have almost enough states to win. So Hillary Clinton only had to win a couple of key states and she's golden. And so they put it out there that it's an impossibility for Trump to win. So here's Slate Magazine yet again, and this is an interesting one. 5 good reasons. This is on 11/12 of 12. Okay? This is after Barack Obama had won the election, 11/12 of 12. They said 5 very good reasons to keep the Electoral College, and below it was in defense of the Electoral College. That was Slate Magazine on 11/12 of 12. 4 years later, on 11/11/16, after Donald Trump won, title: The Electoral College is an instrument of white supremacy and sexism. Same rag. I don't know who wrote them because I can't see the names on there. So in defense of, who's, I don't know. But I'll tell you this, the periodical itself, Slate, totally leftist. So when Barack Obama won, The Electoral College. Hey, this is why we have it. When Donald Trump won, oh my God, look at them. They're a bunch of Klansmen and they're sexist. That is the left. And then there was the discussion of hacking, right? Donald Trump brought it up because he knew he couldn't trust the Democrats. And so at the time, and this article was written on October 19th of 2016, they thought Donald Trump is going to lose. And here was the title. No, the presidential election can't be hacked. And it was written by Ty Copen of CNN. This is CNN saying this. And then they go, again, they tell us point blank it can't be hacked. In October, I'm sorry, look the date here. December the 10th of 2016, CNN. Where's the outrage over Russia's hack of the U.S. election? Another CNN. No, the presidential election can't be hacked. And then we put this one right next to it on December the 12th. Russian hacking and the 2016 election explained. So they don't even realize the level of contradiction that they have. It was amazing to me. Now, before Trump was elected, there was a lady named Lacey Green, and here's what she put on her tweet. Regardless of the outcome, we are clearly a deeply divided and broken country. So much work ahead to mend, heal, and restore the you in the United States, in the you in USA. After Trump is elected, we are now under total Republican rule, textbook fascism. F you, white America. F you, you racist, misogynist pieces of, good night. This very same person who told us on, what day is this? Before Trump gets, they don't have the date here. But she said, we got to heal. The day after this man is elected, we are now under Republican rule, blah, 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 screw you, this, that, and the other. She went, this is a dude out on a date with a woman who's a fraud, marries her, and she becomes Medusa. You know what I'm saying? That's how fake these leftists are. Look, I can only get through that many in this amount of time because we got to take a short break. But this is incredible. You have to see this post if you get a chance.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. And interesting story that I found, and it really cracked me up to the point where I said, I got to write about this. And it has to do with this leftist woman. She wrote a post about the opportunity of hooking up with Trump supporters. I don't mean a meetup. I'm talking about a hookup. Using my finger quotes, ladies. You know what I mean? Come on now. A hookup, a rendezvous, an encounter of the sexual kind. Kurt Schlichter, in prep for this, when I saw the article, because Kurt's a gifted writer, and I suggest you look at his work, follow his Twitter feed. He's a really funny guy. But he says, liberals reluctantly admit the raw sexual power of Trump voters. And he said this in a tweet: the issue never comes up for never Trumpers because whining is not foreplay. That's as risque as it'll get here for this article. But the article intrigued me. It really did. And it began right away. And I like this and I hope we do a good job of this at theblacksphere.net, because we write our articles and, discuss these things. But it was a Glamour article, the Glamour magazine. My grandmother used to get Glamour every now and then. I think most of the time it was just the magazine that was left at the hair salon where she worked before we moved to the little town where I grew up. But the article was titled, "Help, I Can't Stop Hooking Up with Trump Supporters." And it featured a young woman who found herself attracted to Trump voters sexually. And she begins the article explaining that she was asked about her worst hookup. And here's what she wrote. When someone asks about my worst hookup, I have plenty of options to choose from. But I inevitably end up telling the same story. It's the one where I started arguing with a Trump supporter at a bar. And then before I knew it, I was waking up the next morning in his bedroom. So I'll stop there and just tell you, if you argue about Trump to a leftist chick, it's an elixir. It's like Axe perfume. You know what I mean? The women just come over. There are a lot of guys going, really? That's all it takes. She goes on to say this. There were flags everywhere. Ronald Reagan's face was emblazoned on one of them. Don't tread on me made an appearance on another. I say it was the worst, not because the sex was bad, but because, well, see above. And it was the worst because she woke up in the middle of her conservative nightmare with a don't tread on me flag and Reagan and whatever, conservative paraphernalia, political paraphernalia that you have. Because let's face it, folks, and I can speak for all of us conservative guys. We decorate with conservative type items, don't we? I mean, don't you have, Tea Party stuff and American flags all over your house? I mean, you couldn't possibly just be a hip dude with a really cool bachelor pad. Anyway, back to this girl. So the sex was good, ergo, her premise was destroyed. This was not her worst hookup. But there's more. The man with whom she argued about Trump before having casual sex triggered in her something that awoke, when the Gadsden flags and the conservative political paraphernalia all came about. And maybe that's what, made this experience so harrowing. But she goes on to bash Trump in the article, proving that she can separate the future president, Donald Trump, because he wasn't president at the time, from this, dare I say, hunky supporter. So here's what she says. This was early in 2016. While it doesn't excuse my choice of partner, it was before, and I'm going to call it Vaginagate, before the suggestion of violence against his opponents, and before the realities of a Trump presidency really set in. So while I found a lot of his comments abhorrent, hooking up with one of his supporters wasn't quite the moral conundrum to me that it would become a few months later. Now, before I continue reading from her drivel, I'd like to know if there were any metrosexual weenies, aka male Hillary Clinton supporters at the meat market. You think? I mean, she's at a meat market. She's obviously there to get, her groove on, to put it delicately. And she meets a guy who politically she's not attracted to. I'm presuming he's a good looking guy. He's a Trump supporter, right? There's some redeeming qualities about the man. And who else is there? Once he opened his mouth and started talking about Trump, where were the metrosexuals? Were they all in the ladies' bathroom? So anyway, she's fighting the feeling to hook up with this hunky Trump supporter, is what she wants you to believe. Fact of the matter is, there aren't any men other than Trump supporters in the bar. I mean, why did Miss Anti-Trump decide that a Trump supporter would be the lucky recipient of her feminine flower? Anyway, back to the leftist vixen. She explains that she craved the man she met. Let's just call him, I don't know, Mr. Trump Love. How about that? We call him Mr. Trump Love. Well, to my own surprise, she says, we kept hooking up, despite the fact that our political opinions were diametrically opposed. It didn't feel weird. When we text, we naturally argue about politics, but also about other things. What? Mr. Trump love is multidimensional? He's not just all about politics? Be still, my heart. I find myself aflutter for Mr. Trump love. She goes on to say this. Other things, that's what they talk about. Like if corn or flour tortillas made the best tacos. Or whether Drake or Kendrick Lamar was the better rapper. I said Kendrick, of course. When we met up in person, that pent-up anger would turn into frustration, which would turn into a sort of competitive tension that resulted inevitably in sex. So the chick loves conflict. Did you see that? She likes the conflict. My bet is she starts the arguments. Anyway, she explains that Mr. Trump love is good for only one thing. Sex. Although she's already told us that he does stimulate her in other ways. But here's what she writes. I knew we'd never be anything more to each other than a hookup, but I didn't care. The sex was hot, and it was uncomplicated in the sense that neither of us expected or even really wanted any strings attached. And since I was confident in my political convictions, all that witty banter about tax codes, emails, border walls was the foreplay I knew I needed. Now, I can't wait for Miss Sassy Pants to get with her forever dude. And you know who this guy is. He's Pajama Boy. Because he's going to agree with her about her politics. He's going to agree with her that corn tortillas make the best tacos. He will reveal to her that Kendrick is indeed a better rapper than Drake. And the two will laugh at their agreement. They will swear that they sense a connection. Oh my gosh, you Kendrick over Drake, you understand me. You know me. And eventually, these two will marry. And they will create babies to ruin. And when they aren't watching their nanny parent, the two will lament the plight of black people. They will join BLM or an equivalent at a march, as long as the march happens near a Starbucks in their neighborhood. But Mrs. Sassy Pants, longing for Mr. Trump love, it won't go away. Her longing will exist. She misses something she can't get in her marriage. So at some point in their evolution, the couple will grow apart. They will sicken of each other. And in a fit of anger, Mrs. Sassy Pants will reveal to her soon-to-be ex that he's not the father of their children. The light-skinned Mexican landscape guy is. But he fights back. He warns her to get tested for an STD because he frequents street hookers and goes both ways. Oh, and then he tells her that he lost his job months ago and he raided their bank account and the kid's college fund. They divorce. She keeps the home and the contents, compliment of her father, a leftist hippie made good with Apple and Facebook stock, of course. But eventually, she bumps into Mr. Trump love while shopping at Neiman's. A flood of memories return as she wonders what life would have been like with him. And his trophy wife rounds the corner and joyfully asks him, "Do you like this on me, honey?" And he wryly smiles and replies, "Honey, I love that on you, but I'd love it better off you." And she smiles, pirouettes, and walks away, not even acknowledging Miss Sassy Pants. And Mr. Trump love then asks, "Excuse me, do I know you?"
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Mrs. Merkel, well, she's been around a long time. She certainly, in terms of current contemporary European leaders, has more authority than all the rest of them, although she's made some pretty big, major historic errors herself. But I think Mrs. Merkel is more likely to listen to the voice of German industry and listen to the voice of German workers. I do not believe this European Union is going to be there in 10 years' time, and I do think something much better and more constructive can take its place.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. That was Nigel Farage. He was invited by, and it was funny, I saw the article, and it said he was invited by like a woman who's a descendant of Hitler. And it's like, what's that got to do with anything? She didn't kill 6 million Jews. So everybody in Hitler's line now are tainted by Hitler. I mean, what do you say? I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer didn't have any kids, but what about all these serial killers or these other bad men of the world? Aren't we all in some way connected? God, can you just say Farage went to an event that was where they spoke about the European Union and Merkel came up? No. More fake news. Oh, the woman who put on the event that invited Farage is the great niece of Adolf Hitler. Heil Hitler! You know, as if everybody associated with that now is tainted with the scourge of Hitler. It's ridiculous. Which brings me back to what we were talking about earlier, which was the this compilation we did of fake news during and after the election. In some cases, during, you know, it involved a lot of different things. And we covered, you know, Slate, Salon Magazine, CNN, whether it was Russian hacking. It's impossible to hack us. Oh my gosh, we were hacked. Donald Trump won. You know, or interference. Look, nobody covered the nobody even brought up the idea that Hillary Clinton said, I got all these world leaders that want to see me in office. Where are those emails? Give us those communiques. Then let Mueller go look and see what they did to influence the election. What did Hollywood do to influence the election? How many movies did they try to make where they beat up on Trump? Michael Moore made a film. The film that they wouldn't let come out about Hillary. I could go on. How much influence did they have? Every award ceremony. Did Donald Trump get equal time, if you will, to the Hollywood bashing? What about the media onslaught that we're talking about right now? If it weren't for Donald Trump defending himself, we folks don't have Gorsuch on the Supreme Court, whoever else comes next. We don't have our trade deals. We don't have Carrier as a company remaining in the United States, and I could go on. We don't have any of the good things we have. We don't have a stock market shooting through the roof. We don't have jobs reports. What's the latest unemployment? 4.4. It teeters between 4.3 and 4.4. And let me tell you, folks, it's only going to get lower. It's only going to get better. The way that they measure the unemployment rate as it is right now, don't be shocked if that number goes down to 3, even under 3% under Donald Trump. But I want to go back to this flip-floppy media. And you guys will know some of this because the media hates Donald Trump and they hate you. The media hates us. Check out how Washington Post, Jeff Bezos' rag, depicted Comey only months apart. When they rightfully thought that Comey was in their corner, they accused Republicans of a witch hunt against him. Then, when Comey covered his butt in the whole Hillary Clinton email thing, then the Democrats abandoned him super fast. But here's the actual article. July 6th of 2016, Republicans attacked Mr. Comey for doing his job. And then October 29th of 2016, James Comey is damaging our democracy. Now they went from saying that we were attacking him, Republicans were attacking Comey for doing his job, to attacking Comey for doing his job. And that's what cracks me up about the left. I don't even think they see the contradictions. They look at, well, they were attacking him when he was helping Hillary Clinton, but he's no longer helping Hillary Clinton. So now, we got to attack him. They never see it. Then we have the two-faced political theater of a lady by the name of Sally Cohn. And I don't know if you know her, but she's a political pundit, gay chick, always dresses mannishly, whatever. But when Democrats do things, they're okay. Not so much when Republicans. So here was a tweet she had, 4/6 of 17. But here, I want to do the earlier one. This was on 11/21/13, November 21st of 13. GOP repeatedly went ballistic, so Democrats went nuclear. One party had to act like grown-ups and govern. Thanks for standing up, Democrats. And then on 4/16 of this year, April, are we really surprised that after Democrats didn't use nuclear option, Republicans did? Perpetual high road, low road distinction. So she's now saying the Republicans took the low road to use the nuclear option. But when the Democrats did it in 2013, high praise to the Democrats for finally acting like grown-ups, letting government do what it does. Man, folks, no exaggeration. And I'm not going to go through all these, but there has to be 50 examples that we could talk about. There's more than that, but I'm saying when we start looking at this, there were dozens of examples, probably hundreds if you just want to spend the time. Here was another one. What did the media say when President Trump did exactly what Obama did with the U.S. attorneys? And here's one example. So this was in, I believe, the New York Times. Josh Gersten. And he said, this was at 5/15 of 09. Barack Obama plans to replace a batch of U.S. attorneys in the next few weeks and more prosecutors thereafter, according to Attorney General Eric Holder. That's the first sentence of the article, Obama to replace U.S. attorneys. Here's what he said when Trump did it on 3/10 of 17. Trump team oust Obama appointed U.S. attorneys. The president had previously asked Preet Bharara, the U.S. attorney in New York, to stay on. So Trump oust Obama appointed attorneys. Obama replace U.S. attorneys. Now, you may see that as, come on, Kevin, that's no big deal. That's nuanced. One makes you feel like the other guy kicked out the other guy's attorneys. The other looks like business as usual, which is what it is. When a new president takes over, he kills all the baby lions in the pride. He's not going to raise somebody else's little childrens. That's what they do. Trump did what every other president has done in modern history that said, I'm going to get rid of all the other guys' stuff. I don't want their political ideology. And the only time you've seen that change not occur is if it was a Republican or, a Democrat following a Democrat or a Republican following a Republican. And even then, some of those guys still did it. So what are they talking about? Why are they making controversy where there is no controversy? And who can forget, folks, the Democrats with the Affordable Care Act, a.k.a. Obamacare. It would be a travesty if we were to lose it, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't want to go back to paying $600 a month for my health care versus the $1,600 a month that I currently pay. Oh, and I just got a notice that said, Kevin, at the end of October, your coverage is gone. So I've got one option now to go with. But it's late. They gave me through the end of October. So Obamacare is imploding on itself, as it should. And we've been talking about this not because Obama's, black, he's a colored feller. No, because it stinks. But look at how former DNC chairwoman Donna Brazile reacted to Obamacare when it impacted her. This is what she said. Second anniversary of Affordable Care Act, ACA, Obamacare for critics, #healthcare works. Just ask millions with coverage. That was 23 23 March of 2012. On 27 February of 13, what's on your menu? Just got off the phone with my healthcare provider asking them to explain why my premium jumped. No good answer. Now that's the difference, folks, between us and them. She's now, what happened? You know what happened, Donna Brazile. You opted for Barack Obama's nonsense and you got it.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.